Let's get rid of this guy.
Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as the Funky Chicken. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope you all are having a great day. We are entering week number 2 of the NFL offseason. Hey, the clock is ticking down. It sucks because football's over and we don't have anything to look forward to except next week we do have the combine, where a lot of work will be transpiring as teams all get together in the same place, Indianapolis, looking at the future generation of players, having the owners, the GMs, the scouting department, everybody there with the agents, and this is where actually trades and things happen. Now, I've been blessed. It's hard to believe that we really started focusing on doing YouTube in 2016. And here it is, 2025, 9 years later, 9 years of me getting up in the morning and talking about the Dallas Cowboys almost every single day. It's unfathomable. I hate to think about how many times that literally is, but we have been doing that. But I am so blessed because, they always say don't quit your day job for YouTube because there's no future for you there. And I'm always doing a multitude of things. And I have great fans out there that have helped me, of course, along the way by keeping me notified. And if there's something that you see that's kind of crazy, they say, hey, have you seen this? What do you think about this? And, it's a different world now because now everything looks like it's legit and it's a regular site or, article and stuff. And now that you've got AI in there, AI is literally just making up stories about, anything and everything in the world. And you don't know necessarily what to believe when you see stuff. And so Holly Pierce, shout out to Holly Pierce, who watches my channel, my cooking channel, Cooking and Tailgating with Joe Boo. And she always sends me recipes as well as some of the stuff that you see that might sound a little outlandish. And understand it is the off season, so everybody is trying to keep relevance right now. And so you're going to see things that just don't sound quite right or just kind of shocking. And it's like, oh, or it might be like, wow, I want to see that happen just to get you to watch. Because in the end, it's not about being right. It's not about telling the real story. It's about getting you to watch. And that's all that matters. And you can see in social media, I tell people, there's the real world and then there's social media. Your favorite YouTubers or influencers and things like that. Half the shit that they're hawking, they don't use. And they're selling a lifestyle or a vision and things that isn't really real, because in the end, you're paying the tab. So Holly sent me this piece this morning, which sounded interesting, but Dallas front office contemplating a groundbreaking swap, potentially trading Osa Odighizuwa for Chiefs Nick Bolton, sparking a new era of aggressive maneuvers. So I think, here's what I think. Now this is Moto or whatever. Motorcycle News. That's the first thing. This is a Euro magazine. It's a Euro magazine. And they're talking about swapping Nick Bolton for Osa Odighizuwa. Well, at the moment, that sounds actually great because Osa Odighizuwa is a free agent. We don't own his rights. If we were to get something for Osa Odighizuwa on his way out, then that's great. Now, the only way that a swap could happen, potentially trading Osa Odighizuwa for Nick Bolton, would be is you would have to franchise tag him. Now, there's a couple of different franchise tags. The regular franchise tag, which is exclusive, would be $24 million per year for that first year, because you only get it for 1 year, in which case you could trade him being franchise tag. Then there is the non-exclusive tag, which would be, I think, about $18 million, and that allows other teams to sign him to a contract. You have a right of first refusal, or they could trade for him there. And then there is the other one, which case is somebody can basically sign him to an offer sheet, and you can, choose to match it, or he just goes and you get no compensation. I don't think that this is what the Cowboys are going to do, because then you're kind of committed. You sign him to a tag, you've kept him from being able to get out on the street, and then you have to work out a deal for him. And if you don't want that deal, you could be left holding the bag. So I'm not sure that this article was meant to be for Osa Odighizuwa, or if maybe they were thinking more of this should have been Micah Parsons, somebody who you do actually own the rights. But let's get into this just a little bit. As an NFL season unfolds, the Cowboys are contemplating a significant strategic shift that could potentially reshape their defensive lineup. The front office, led by an enigmatic Jerry Jones, is exploring the idea of trading defensive tackle Osa Odighizuwa to Kansas City for linebacker Nick Bolton. That would have been fine if it had been before the trade deadline or last year. But again, he's a free agent, and in 2 weeks, he's free to negotiate with anybody unless the Dallas Cowboys sign him to a franchise tag or get him a long-term deal and trade him. This proposal swap has sparked discussions among fans and analysts alike, hinting at a new era of assertive maneuvering by the Cowboys. We always hear that the Cowboys are going to be big players. We heard Jerry Jones literally say, we're going all in. And I've been hearing this forever. The saddest part about all of what we've seen is the Cowboys were where Washington is now. Washington, rookie quarterback contract, young team, 12-5 season, opportunity with cap space to go out and make moves to try and go all in. We've had those opportunities with Dak Prescott for the first 4 years, where he was making under $2 million. In 3 of those years, he was making $680,000. And the Cowboys did absolutely, positively nothing to help him. And they've had opportunities since, and they still have done nothing. The Cowboys since 2016 have been, I believe, the least spending in free agency team in the NFL. So we all keep looking and hoping and talking about this shift that has never happened, but be that as may. With a fresh coaching staff and mandate for transformation, the Cowboys find themselves at that pivotal juncture, compelled to make bold decisions to enhance their competitiveness going forward, debating the future and potential alternatives. At the center of the deliberation lies the future of Osa Odighizuwa, a rising defensive tackle posed to command a substantial contract. While the front office views Osa Odighizuwa as a priority signing, dissecting voices, including former scout Brian Broaddus, advocate for a more diversified allocation of resources. Broaddus suggests that instead of committing significant funds to retain Osa Odighizuwa, the Cowboys could pursue alternate options, such as targeting versatile linebacker Nick Bolton from the Chiefs. Can't disagree with that part of it. I can't. But to say that you're going to trade Osa Odighizuwa, a free agent, it doesn't work. It's kind of like when people say, let's trade Dak. Dak's got a no-trade clause. Why would I go to Cleveland? Why would I accept a trade to Cleveland? Not going to happen. A paradigm shift in free agent strategy. The prospect of trading Nick Bolton represents a departure for Cowboys' conservative approach to free agency in recent years. Broaddus' vision of bolstering the defensive ranks with a dynamic playmaker like Bolton significantly is a potential shift in a team's philosophy, one that polarizes proactive recruitment and strategic acquisitions. Bolton's impressive performances in the previous seasons, highlighted by impactful plays and championship pedigree, adds credence to the allure of this proposal trade. Again, not going to say that he wouldn't be impactful for our defense. However, I kind of look at Kansas City's defensive front, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. I'm not sure that they would be wanting to get rid of a playmaking linebacker for another defensive lineman. I'm just looking at it from that standpoint. And from the standpoint of whether or not the Cowboys can trade Osa Digizua, I have to kind of say this is one of those ones that you kind of have to say, okay, we got it. Okay, it's interesting, but I don't think that that's something that is even conceivable at this point. It's just not. So, yeah, it sounds good. Definitely strikes your interest. Definitely going to get some clicks, but it's not really a possibility of being able to be done. But I do want to go back a little bit. And this is back from the Super Bowl. This was actually Emmitt Smith, and he's talking about the Cowboys' identity. And I have to agree with this is, what is our identity? Besides being a soap opera.
I think we've gotten so far away from who we were that built the Cowboys to who they are today. We've gotten so far away from that nobody knows who we are, what we can do. We have no brand identity outside of the Star. And the Star is the most important brand, but championships help build the doggone Star.
Obviously, you have deep ties to the Cowboys. They just hired Brian Schottenheimer. I'm curious about your thoughts about how the whole thing went down. A lot of fans are upset they didn't interview more candidates. Even the way they had Mike McCarthy, they talked that they were maybe going to negotiate. Those 8 days, it was kind of drawn out a little bit.
Yeah, it was a little drama around it.
Yeah.
And, you know, the one thing I do understand, I appreciate the hire from within. The question is, was there better candidates? And who were the candidates? And I think that's what fans are looking for. They're looking for someone that they can truly believe in. And it's been hit or miss. With Mike McCarthy, a lot of fans felt like last year he should have been gone last year, before the season even got started, especially after the way we got bounced out of the playoff against the Packers. But that didn't happen. And last year was a year full of injuries and so forth. So the team itself just kind of faltered at the end.
Yeah.
But you saw a little glimmer of light at the end also when Dak went down. Cooper Rush comes in, and they shrink the number of passes, and they started relying more on the running game, which is something that I thought they should have done in the first place.
Yeah.
Even
you
with
think?
Dak Prescott. Balance is the key to success of everybody, I believe.
Yeah.
You just don't win it by just throwing the ball all over the field.
Yeah.
And you leverage the talent that you actually have, and you develop the talent that you currently have in order to create a much more balanced team.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if we did those things. I think we just try to get Dak Prescott to be like Patrick Mahomes and throw the ball all over the field.
Exactly.
And we did not have the Kansas City Chiefs personnel to do all that. Didn't have a great tight end that can run down there and do what Travis Kelce does. And we didn't have a speedy wide receiver to go over the top. And CeeDee Lamb was the best thing that we had.
Yeah.
And sometimes he'd get the ball thrown to him with 3 and 4 people around him.
Yeah.
And so that wasn't cool. I mean, so there's a lot of things that we definitely need to do.
All right, so let's stop there for just 1 second here. Because he just put it in a nutshell. Because people will say, if we just had Pat Mahomes, if we just put Pat Mahomes back here, we're going to be great. You'd be better. But you ain't winning without having the people that go along with it. He's 100% right. We had CeeDee Lamb. As a defensive coach, who would you rather have the ball? CeeDee Lamb? Jalen Brooks. CeeDee Lamb? Jalen Tolbert. CeeDee Lamb? Jonathan Mingo? CeeDee Lamb? What's his name? Damn, the backup tight end. Second string. I can't remember. Again, all of these things are not the same. But go on, Emmett. I'm sorry to disturb you.
Do to improve improve upon as the Dallas Cowboys.
Do you think there were better candidates out there?
I'm sure they were.
Yeah.
I'm sure they were. I mean, the question is, did we want to go get somebody from another team? Because the way I see it, when we won our Super Bowls, they plucked every great coach we had.
Right.
Norv Turner ended up going to the Washington Redskins at the time. Dave Wanstead ended up going to
The Bears.
Bears as a head coach. Everybody got head coaching jobs.
Yeah.
And why aren't we doing the same thing?
Yeah.
Why aren't we going after somebody or asking somebody to come out of retirement like Mike Shanahan or Pete Carroll coming in, connecting?
Okay, he's just throwing
players,
names
or
out here now.
Dion coming down and connecting with players. Why aren't we doing things that not only that people can believe in,
Yeah.
but something solid that gives us a clear direction that we're heading in the right direction?
Yeah. You talked about the personnel, the discrepancy between a team like the Chiefs and the Cowboys.
Right.
Jerry, you know how he is. I mean, obviously you have a deep relationship with him, but with them running the front office, are they holding the team back?
Are they holding the team back? I'm not sure if they're holding the team back, because the one thing I got to give the Cowboys credit for, and everyone has to give the Cowboys credit for, is that they do a great job of bringing great talent in. They've been talented
Yeah.
for many, many years. Talent has not been the problem. I think it's the commitment to who we are as the Dallas Cowboys is the question.
That's the
I
real
think
question.
we've gotten
yeah.
so far away from who we were that built the Cowboys to who they are today. We've gotten so far away from that nobody knows who we are or what we can do. We have no brand identity outside of the star. And the star is the most important brand, but championships help build the doggone star.
Yeah.
So until we get back to our traditional ways, I should say, solid defense, solid special teams, solid balanced offense that ran the ball physically, that
He ain't
threw the ball
wrong.
effectively, and play great football. Until we get to that level, we don't know how good we can become. Even I don't care what kind of talent we have, and
Yeah.
you don't double down on the lack thereof talent. You double down when you have great talent.
Yeah.
You could have doubled down when the Tony Romo era was there. But DeMarcus Ware out there rushing folks and everything. That defense, you have a great secondary that got more picks than anybody last year, but yet
You don't do shit.
Yeah.
it's a bunch of hodgepodge stuff. So
Yeah.
nothing that you can really, you want to hang your hat on that potential. But I'm tired of potential.
Yeah.
When do
yeah.
you turn potential into greatness?
Yeah.
When you bought the Cowboys, we were potentially poor and potentially bad. And then we started developing, then we had potential to be a very good team.
Yeah.
Made a few changes here, brought in the offense that was solid, had a solid defense anyway. Defense got better, offense got better, and that potential turned into 3 championships in 4 years. And
Yeah.
we've gotten away from that model.
Yeah. You talked about wanting to run the ball a little bit more. The Cowboys have the number 12 overall pick. Ashton Jenney had an incredible season.
Right.
Is that a guy that you would like to maybe see them get?
The only way I would like to see the Cowboys draft him, if they're going to commit
To run the
to
football.
making a run offense out of that. Don't bring the kid in if we're not going to commit to upgrade the offensive line and give him the tools to be successful. Don't bring him in and get everybody all hyped up because you're bringing in a great running back like Ashton Jenney, and he's from the North Texas area,
Yeah.
and not utilize him in the right way and let him be the fall guy for bad decisions.
Yeah.
Because you're not willing to upgrade in areas to give him the opportunity to be successful.
Yeah.
That's the only way I would want to see him come in. Outside of that, let the man go and have a prosperous career somewhere else.
There you go.
With Saquon having the year that he's having, it's an all-time great season. You've seen, obviously, you've had incredible seasons. Where does what he's doing? Where does that rank in terms of just excellence?
Well, obviously rates pretty high. I mean, when you think back to rushing for over 2,000 yards, there's only been so many guys that over 2,000 yards. And I think I can name them all. Eric Dickerson, O.J. Simpson, Barry Sanders, Jamal Lewis, Chris Johnson, and not Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
I can't think of nobody else
Eric did he say Eric
in the
Dickerson?
history of the game.
Yeah.
And the game been played for 100 years
Yeah.
plus. And so he ranks amongst top five has gone over 2,000 yards out of God knows how many running backs we've had
Yeah.
come through the National Football League. So what he did this year deserved not only the league MVP, but also the offensive MVP of the league.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, you were an incredible running back, all-time rushing leader. But if you could steal one thing from his game, back when you were playing, what would that be?
The backwards jump move.
There you
That's
go.
the one move
The
I would
backwards
want to
jump
steal
move.
from him. The backwards.
There we go. So we got Emmitt Smith, his point of view on what the Dallas Cowboys should do and where we're lacking. And he's not wrong. And this is really where you have to look at the Cowboys and say, we've had some good teams. We just don't go far enough in. We always look at it and say, well, Micah Parsons is on the defense, so, he's going to be able to do it all. But that's not the truth. If you look at when Lawrence Taylor played with the Giants, it wasn't just Lawrence Taylor. He had an incredible team around him. He had other playmakers with him. And the same thing can be said about Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith didn't do it on his own. You had a collection of talent between the great offensive line, and when they lost somebody, they found a person, a lot of times, that was even better. You had a great fullback, you had great receivers, you had an incredible quarterback, you had a top defense, number 1 rated defense. These things matter. But we as fans have gotten to the point where we'll say, oh, well, we can settle for, Micah Parsons, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb. They can go win a Super Bowl. It ain't going to happen, people. It ain't going to happen. When you look at the Dallas Cowboys as currently constructed and compare them to our Super Bowl winning great teams, there are very few guys who can even crack the lineup on those teams. And that's no dig against the guys that we have, but they're not the Dallas Cowboys of old. And until the Dallas Cowboys start taking advantage of the situations that they have good players, it's never going to end up being Super Bowls again. So we'll finish this morning off here with Rich Eisen and our realistic expectations for next year.
Cap in the NFL is going up and going up by a lot. Now, a lot of folks may wonder, what does that mean for you and your team? Guess what? If it was $255 million last year, and it was, and it can go maybe up to $281 million this year. That means over the last 2 years, according to Dan Graziano of ESPN, $53 million the cap has gone up. And what that means is you can pay players more. And what that means is if you're going to start scrimping on a running back, you are a complete and total moron. I just said that about general managers. You know what I mean? Like, oh, so we can't pay you $15 million, we got to pay you $9 million when there's $6 million of $53 million over the last 2 years going up. No, let's not go ahead and pay a difference-making guy. Let's just go and draft one and hope he can be it. You're missing the boat. I should say that instead of a moron. That's just the way I feel about it. It's certainly Howie Roseman just showed you. If they scrimped on the running back position, would they have won the Super Bowl this year? Perhaps not. Perhaps not. And what this also means is players who are looking for more coin.
There's definitely more coin.
You know who's one of them? Micah Parsons retweeted it, LFG.
That's awesome.
Retweeted about the cap going up, LFG. He LFG'd a couple of posts. One was also Matt Eberflus, the new defensive coordinator, talked yesterday for the first time since arriving back in Dallas. He was the linebacker coach for 7 seasons there underneath Jason Garrett. Eberflus, when he spoke to the media, called Micah a premier pass rusher. We're going to use him that way, certainly, and he's one heck of an athlete that can do a lot of different things for us on defense. He LFG'd that one, too.
Pay that man his money.
Exactly, Teddy. Exactly.
That's awesome.
And Eberflus had this to say about joining the Cowboys staff as Brian Schottenheimer's defensive coordinator.
As a former head coach, how do you help Brian, as a first-year head coach? Yeah, again, the first couple of meetings I had with him, I said, I'm here for you. I want to really just do a good job of bouncing ideas off of me, experiences that I had, and just working together, to be able to utilize me because I do have the experience of being a head coach for him and to make his job easier.
2 things here. Number one, is it's good to see that Eberflus is not giving up his look of the hair and the beard just because he's no longer a head coach. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Okay.
Because normally you go from an HC to an assistant. You can let yourself go.
Not when you have a glow up like he had.
I mean, he's glowing up, and two is I know people have their fun and say, what's Eberflus going to bring from his head coaching experience in Chicago to Brian Schottenheimer?
A lot.
Damn straight. Let me tell you, man, he is an excellent defensive coach in the National Football League. You got yourself a winner there. I think the Cowboys defense is definitely not the problem here. The problem is what's going to happen on the offensive side of the ball. Certainly, if you went ahead,
you don't remember,
and didn't dip your
we had a couple games we couldn't force
toe in a much larger coaching pool with more of experience and a more expensive pool for coaches, because you want to keep the system for Dak and everybody else that Mike McCarthy brought in and that Brian Schottenheimer is going to continue. It's the offensive side of the ball. Who's coming, man? Who's going to protect Dak and who's running it? Rico Dowdle's a free agent. Who other than CeeDee Lamb can catch the ball? That's what we're talking about here, right?
Also, Rich and Chris, we laughed a lot about Brian Schottenheimer getting hired, right? But if you look back, think all the coaches recently that at their introductory press conferences, we all kind of rolled our eyes at. Nick Sirianni,
Duval,
2 Super Bowls. Dan Campbell, pew, 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 Cannon. All these guys, people looked at and went, what's going on? And they've all been pretty decent, especially Sirianni and Campbell. So that's why I'm willing to give Schottenheimer the benefit of the doubt.
There you go. You have no choice but to anyway.
Yeah, I mean, what else am I going to do?
Actually,
it's my last year, unless I see something.
You do have a choice. By the way, Jason Feller did this in your absence, Mike.
Did he say this is his last year unless they show him something?
Inside his, he made his excellent card stock as well. He made a certificate of release of fandom presented to T.J. Jefferson, and his own. He even made his own gold seal of. Because Jay is also amongst many things an actual notary.
Yes.
Yep.
We think.
And you have not signed this.
No, I got one over here. I told you. I'm going to let this year play out.
What do you mean you have one over there?
Play out.
He made one of the certificates for you?
He made a couple copies.
Oh.
Yes.
Where's my
Same
Dodgers
card
one?
stock, too?
It's good stuff, man.
I mean, listen to this.
Oh, yeah.
That's not cheap. That's not cheap.
Clayton Adams, you know who he is?
Yes.
Clayton Bigsby?
No, it sounds like actually it actually sounds like one of Clancy Brown's roles, right?
Yeah, right.
Clayton Adams.
Clayton Biggs.
No, he's the name of your new offensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He's the one who's going to be shaping Brian Schottenheimer's game plan with the HC.
Let's go, Clayton.
An offensive lineman by trade and offensive line coach by trade. Had this to say about what the Cowboys' offense, as I said, this is what it's about. How will this offense look?
The same thing that I want from every player on offense, and that is to create violence in the game.
Love it.
Be aggressive, run, hit. I think that every decision that we make schematically needs to lean that direction. So if there's gray area, what is going to allow these guys to play more free and run and hit and be violent?
There you go. Remove the gray so you could be more violent.
I like that.
You do? So I should put this folder back in the...
I'd say, keep it close, but know that you have at least 12 months before.
Very good.
Keep it close.
Third place? NFC East, third place?
Yes.
Will they catch the Washington Commanders this year?
No.
Will they catch the Philadelphia Eagles this year?
No chance.
Okay.
We shall see.
We shall see. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel.
We got no chance in hell of catching Washington and the Eagles, as they say right now. But here's the thing. The NFL, it changes so quickly. In the meantime, I got to get out of here.
I can't stand it anymore. I got to get out of here. I've got to get out of here. Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Stewardess, please let me handle this.
I've got to get
Calm down. Now get back to your seat. I'll take care of this. Calm down. Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Doctor, you're wanted on the phone. Everything's going to be all right. Please.
Sister, please, I'll handle this.
I've got to get out